because of the lack of education, there's a distrust between the buying public and the insurance industry that's serving them. So they don't trust each other. That shows up in the legislature, in the laws and the regulations that they pass. It's onerous. And I don't see light at the end of the tunnel around unwinding this.
Welcome to the Elevating Leaders series, where we go beyond the headlines and straight to the people who are redefining InsurTech and business transformation. We've caught up with the visionaries and the pioneers that are currently driving the industry forward, bringing you exclusive insights, strategies, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. If you're ready to go deeper, this is your front row seat to the future of insurance. I'm Miguel Edwards, and this is 5 Minutes.
All right, we're here live at ITC 2024. I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Nick Lamparelli. He joins me once again on the 5M podcast. Appreciate you making the time, man.
Got it. Love it.
Awesome, man. So, what's exciting you? What are you seeing on the show floor that so far has got your attention?
So I've made this comment to several people. In the earlier years of ITC, it was kind of like you had to be here because other people were here.
Yeah.
So it was almost like a FOMO moment. ITC kind of plateaued off. The last 2 to 3 years, there's been like another inflection point here.
Yeah.
Like stuff's getting done.
Right.
People are connecting in a smart way. This isn't like shotgun, because we've seen conferences where there's this shotgun, I want to try to meet everybody sort of thing. You can see people are getting more smart and strategic about how they're managing their conference efforts here. Who do we want to meet? When I talk to vendors in the exhibit hall, it's the buyers that are coming to them. They're doing research. They're vetting. They're doing due diligence. This isn't just like, so what do you do? Right. And like passing business cards around. The conference in the past 2 years is taking a turn where it is productive.
Right.
Stuff's getting done. Yeah. Right. So that's like the thing that immediately stands out.
Love that. It sounds almost kind of like a little bit of a maturation process that's occurred, right? Where people are figuring out how to do this, right?
And frankly, I think having been through this, I've seen it. I've seen both sides of the equation, vendors and actors, industry players not know what to do.
Right.
You had vendors that didn't know how to sell into the insurance ecosystem. But I think more importantly, we had, legacy players who didn't know what to do. Yeah. They didn't know what to do with the vendors. They didn't know how to do the due diligence. So they've matured in their buying process. I still think they have a lot of work to do. Yeah. But it's leaps and bounds beyond where it was before. It was just like, oh, you do 3D aerial imagery. Let's talk.
Right.
Like, well, now there's a lot of companies that do that. They know they have to really focus in on like, okay, before we sit down with this company, is this someone we actually want to talk to? How long have they been around for? Can they handle us? Yeah. Are we going to destroy them if we engage with them? So finally, like I think a lot of the warnings or the criticisms from InsurTechs, the vendors, on like, here's how you should be engaging with us. They finally took it, and they are now engaging in the proper way.
Nick, you talked about, the various aerial imagery players that are out there. I'd be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to talk to you, a Florida insurance expert about back-to-back storms. I live in Tampa now, and so I was right there front and center.
Welcome, here's your gift.
Yeah, holy cow! What do we? And by the way, climate change, by the way, was a discussion on the stage during the keynote yesterday. What do we need to be thinking about as an industry, given what we've just experienced?
I mean, there's so much we need to be thinking about. So it's what needs to be prioritized is that we have states like Florida, but this is not just a hurricane problem. We're seeing it in California.
Sure.
Really struggling. Okay. And I don't see that ending. We sort of needed another clean year. We had a clean year last year. That was good for carriers and reinsurers to kind of build up balance sheet and some surplus. Yep. We really needed another one and we didn't get it. Right. Okay. So the losses are going to be in the tens of billions of dollars. That's going to put a pinch on the Florida marketplace. It's just going to make the 1/1 reinsurance renewals that much more difficult to accomplish. So, I'm expecting that any sort of rate relief that we started to see, we're not going to get. Right. Like that's going to be put on pause. We may see rate increases. It's hard to tell. Right. It's too early, but there's going to be a pause on that. And frankly, that just puts a lot of pressure on the entire Florida marketplace ecosystem because the buyers are really pinched here. Premiums are really expensive. We these issues are just not going to get resolved, and that's part of what it is that we've been discussing and we've been trying to resolve is that there's no advocacy for the marketplace,
right?
And so the marketplace is taking it on the chin. So this isn't about consumer advocacy or industry advocacy. This is like the marketplace needs the pins to be lined up. Florida is a very dangerous place to take risk.
Yes.
We have half the hurricane risk of the United States. So there has to be expectation of losses. There also has to be the expectation from the consumer side that this is likely not to be inexpensive.
Right.
You can't carry half of the hurricane risk and expect the premium to be the same from the home you left in Michigan.
Yeah.
Right? That's not reasonable at all. But there's nothing in the marketplace that's properly setting expectations and a framework for all of the individual stakeholders and constituents to set their expectations on what should we be doing, what should we be expecting, and what decisions can we make that will make Florida a more attractive place for global capital, global reinsurance capacity to come in. So we needed a clean year.
Yeah.
We didn't get a clean year, which means the struggle is going to continue. The hard market's going to continue.
I don't know, Nick, that people get how high the stakes are because, I was listening to a pundit on LinkedIn talk about the fact that, and he positioned, I'd love your opinion on this, that Florida is essentially on the verge of being economically unviable. Because when you start thinking about the fact that, and you talk about the cost of insurance, at what point do homeowners become completely priced out of buying a home because they can't afford homeowner insurance, right? And
it's happening.
It's happening right now. And, and I guess that there's the Florida Reinsurance Fund is funded like something like 17 or 19 billion dollars. You talk about tens of billions of dollars of losses. So what do we have to do to get people to fully appreciate and understand that change is necessary?
Yeah. So, I'll say the easy word, which is education.
Yeah.
But that's not so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as a society, as California constituents, all of us.
Right.
Folks in Tallahassee, insurance buyers, the media, local municipalities. There's just a tangible lack of knowledge about insurance. And you nailed it.
Yeah.
That lack of knowledge is now extended into something that feels existential around the economy.
Yeah.
Because what is Florida? It's beaches, it's tourism. Well, what's that? That's real estate.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's continue that further. Can the real estate market function if the insurance market's broken?
Yep.
No. And so we are like a second order effect, a third order effect. It's not something that Tallahassee is thinking about all the time, but the state government has big goals to become, California always talks about how they're the, fourth largest, fifth largest economy in the world. I think Florida is the 13th largest economy, or the 16th largest, and their goal is to become the 10th largest economy. Well, tourism, real estate, that's the only way it's going to happen.
Right.
And the only way that's going to happen is if the insurance market works.
Right.
So how do you educate all of the constituents? There's no easy way to do it because our methodology to educate is to meet them where they are. Well, Miguel, that means we're probably going to have to make TikTok videos.
That's right.
You might need to see me dancing. We might need YouTube videos, Facebook. Like, where are these people? That's where they are.
Yeah.
Some people aren't even on social media, so it could be TV advertising.
Right.
Where do we meet these people? It's going to take like a massive push of coordinated resources to educate. But at the end of the day, if we don't have a prudent and wise consumer base around this, you can see the fractures in this. Like, we've called this out.
Yep.
And if this doesn't occur the right way, we could be in a situation where literally people can't afford their homes.
That's right. there's got to be a role for the legislator here somewhere, right? I mean, there's reform that's necessary. Where are we on that journey?
Okay, so I'm not going to play political games around hiding around the fact that I believe in markets and market systems, and market systems work, right? But because of the lack of education, there's a distrust between the buying public and the insurance industry that's serving them. So they don't trust each other. Frankly, they just do not trust each other. And that shows up in the legislature, in the laws and the regulations that they pass. It's onerous. And I don't see light at the end of the tunnel around unwinding this. We were extremely fortunate last year to get the special sessions that unwound some litigation abuse.
Assignment of benefits.
Yeah, assignment of benefits, one-way attorney's fees.
Yeah.
Those were very beneficial to the insurance markets of Florida. So the way I have understood how Tallahassee operates is, okay, let's take a couple of years. Let's see how this works out, and then we'll go to work again.
Right.
That kind of cycle is, I think we're like someone that's on life support system. Like waiting is not an option.
Right.
It's just not. So Tallahassee has probably the hugest influence in what's happening here, because they set the laws, they set the regulations, they set the culture on whether Florida is going to be an attractive place. So part of our mission with the Insurance Advocacy Forum of Florida is we have to reach them. So if I have to do TikTok videos for legislators, I'm going to do TikTok videos for legislators. But at the end of the day, like if you ask me, like, Nick, I'm going to put a gun to your head, what do we need to do? I honestly think, like, let the market work.
Yeah.
Let the market clear. Let the market do what it wants to do. And, we can still have the Florida Cat Fund and some other things to kind of create a floor around that. But, I mean, there's the possibility that Milton could wipe out the Florida Cat Fund.
That's what it seems like.
There's that possibility.
Right. Yeah.
And now we're starting over again.
That's right.
So one way or another, whether you allow markets to kind of clear themselves, or we have this highly regulated system we're still going to go through peaks and valleys. That's the way it is. So the framework I would like to propose is something that stabilizes that. We don't have to go through the peaks and valleys, which means in good times, right? We may need to have rate increases and maintain rate increases in good times.
Right.
So that in bad times, we don't have to have 50% rate increases and 100% rate increases. Like my goal is to make the peaks and troughs less severe and kind of stabilize that. But we're talking about hurricanes and random acts of Mother Nature. We can't control that. And so, we're talking about a global capital market. Florida is very sensitive to global capital. Most of the reinsurance that comes into Florida is from Bermuda.
Right.
It's not Floridian. Right. So interest rates, global markets, those all play a role in here. So we will have cycles. Let's try to stabilize those cycles.
Makes sense. Nick, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you a question about AI. We're here at ITC, and AI is in almost every conversation. What
it gets forced into every conversation.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm doing here. I got to force it into this conversation so I get my credit, right? I got to get my credit. So what are you seeing on the horizon for AI? Whether it has to do with the Florida market or more broadly, what are some of the use cases that you see out there making sense?
AI is a game changer.
Yeah.
In so many different ways. Of course, insurers are going to be very risk averse in how they do it, and they need to be. The typical AI that the listener is going to be that they can relate to is going to be like ChatGPT, Gemini, and those things, and that's not custom fit for insurance. Right. You know that. I know that. Sure. Like you can't just slap. And I've seen companies like talk to this. You almost have to like, whoa there. Let's pull the reins back a little bit here. Those large language models and that generative AI is not custom built for insurance. Be extremely careful. Yes.
Right.
With that said, right? Things like reading policies, things like, analyzing policy language, speeding up a claims process. It is kind of built for that.
Right.
It's kind of built to read things, analyze it, summarize it, come to a conclusion, especially like, reading a policy. I just had a conversation with someone where we laughed about how our jobs were to compare the current year's policy with last year's policy and find the discrepancies or where the underwriter may have made a mistake and put in policy language that deviated from our submission.
Right.
Do you know how mind-numbing that is?
Oh, gosh. And then the human error factor,
Of course. Of course. AI is custom built for efficiency around those kinds of functions. So I see it capable of streamlining claims, streamlining underwriting, not doing the underwriting, just streamlining it, getting a pile of submissions and having AI say, these are more likely to be successful for you. You should work on these first.
Yes.
Sort of thing. And then saying like, oh, and by the way, we took the data and we moved it to the next stage in the underwriting process. AI is custom built for that. We should adopt it. We should see tremendous efficiencies that are coming from that. And hopefully that shows up in loss ratios and overhead expense and things like that. So the AI thing is completely real.
Yeah.
When you're in it and you're working with it, the last time I had the same sort of excitement on something was when I found Google. Right. It's the same thing. Like, whoa.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like a flash in the pan like blockchain. It's here.
Things like blockchain and stuff, like I still think there's a use case for blockchain, but clearly that has not emerged as something that's going to be ubiquitous. AI will be ubiquitous, just like searches. Like it is just part of the vernacular. We won't even see it. Like it is going to be so built into workflows and functions, we won't even see it act.
Yeah.
But we need to be careful. I heard a story this morning about a life insurance claim where there was, someone died, and in the process of going through the claim, the life insurance company put it through an AI chatbot.
Okay.
Right? So there was an AI voice on the other side of the phone, and it's like, someone should have caught that. That's the wrong time to have a robotic voice ask for a claim number or a policy number. Like that's a time where we're supposed to show our chops around that. So live and learn. We're making mistakes. We're going to keep making mistakes. Make mistakes.
Right.
Like
learn.
Make mistakes, but then learn from them and fix them.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.